Welcome back everybody to another tutorial video. This one will be a slightly bit different as I'm uploading a game to itch. Normally I'm showing you how to do something specific in GB Studio, but as I've now finished my Office Combat game, I will be uploading it to itch and going and walking you through the process of submitting it to the Game Jam and also exporting the game from GB Studio. So to begin, you see up here we have a game and it says export as ROM or web. If we press run normally, then it's like pressing this play button, and we can obviously play and test the game in the emulator that GB Studio has. But what you want to do is click on export ROM. You also want to click on export for web, and when you do, it'll bring up one of these things. So as you can see here, I am going to rename this game thing to Office Combat. And this is the file that is played on the Game Boy. So, for example, on my Easy Flash Junior, I will download this file from itch, or obviously just take it from right here, and I'd put it onto my SD card, and I'd slot it into the game, into my Game Boy, and then I can play it on the Game Boy. I'm not sure about all of this other stuff. I know that this text file is like the hex code for the actual game. Don't know what NOI means. I don't know what IHX means. But I do know that this file is the file that is the game file. So if you wanted to, you could obviously rename this folder and upload that to itch, which I've done in the past, mainly because I didn't know what everything was. But I'm just going to take this and upload this single file. And then you also want to take the web file and you want to rename that to whatever your game is. And I'm just going to rename it to Office Combat Web and then compress it. It's as simple as that, just because the itch upload thing uses a zipped folder in order to upload a web game. Once you've exported your game for both the web and a ROM, then you can now hop over to itch. And as you can see here, if I press submit to Jam, then it's asking me which game do I want to submit, rather than I haven't uploaded or created a project yet, so I need to upload a game, right? So I'll start from scratch as if we didn't want to upload it to the competition. As you can see here, I'm in my dashboard and I'm scrolling down to the bottom where I can press create new project. And then this is what, if you've ever uploaded a game before, this is exactly what it is, right? If you've never done this before, then I'm here to help, okay? So I'm just going to call it Office Combat. I'm going to go through everything as if, because I am actually uploading this to itch. So as you can see, it auto-generated the URL, which is completely fine. I'll obviously make a short tagline. You want to obviously call it what it is, and it is a game. It is downloadable, but it's also a HTML. I'm not sure how this affects your search rankings. I'll put it as HTML because then normal people who want to play a game in itch can find it and play it. I'm going to put it as release since it's basically done. I could put in development because it's not completely done yet. I could put it to released once I've added music if I'm going to. But I'll just put it to released. So obviously I've set up my account to take payments. So I can put $0 or donates. If you haven't done that yet, you might be stuck with no payments, which is completely fine, but I prefer to do $0 or donate. And you can obviously set your desired donation amount. And this is, if you are wanting to do this as a living, then I don't see why you wouldn't put $0 or donate. Most competitions and game jams ask you to have it so it's free to download. And then after the voting is over, you can put it to paid, which I may do, mainly because the game is able to be played in the web browser. So there's nothing, there's no paywall really to play the game unless you want to play it on your Game Boy, in which I would appreciate if, receiving a small bit of money. Okay, so here we go now to the uploads. So what we want to do is upload those two files we created. So to find them, you go into the folder of which you created the game. And then if you go into the actual project file, you see here, this is the project that you would open up, the GB Studio project file. But if we go into build, you see here we have the ROM file and we also have the web file. So first of all, I'm just going to upload the officecombat.gb. also going to upload the zipped up web folder. And then you see here, there's a few things we can do in itch, right? If this was an actual game we'd made in Unity or Unreal, then we could have it as an executable, and we just tell people it's an executable. But what it actually is other, because it's the game, but it's not an executable. You have to play it on your Game Boy. So I'm putting it as other. And you see it takes away everything because obviously on executable it's asking you, which one are you going to play it on? And obviously this is not anything. And obviously you could upload multiple games and just hide them here by clicking this. Or you can set a different price for it. So, if you had a special version of your game which you wanted people to pay extra money for, then this would be it, right? So you could offer, a free demo by setting a $0 maybe, or you could have a different price by setting, $10 or something. So I'm just going to leave that blank, and then this is where it actually matters. And obviously, because it's zipped up, it's already asking us this file will be played in browser, and we just tick it, and it takes away all of the everything else, and this will then play on when it opens. So now you can see here we have embed in page and manually set size, and we want to manually set the size of this, and what this will be is the actual game screen. So you see here we're in Take It Racing 2, and we have this screen here. If I press run, which is a choice, we can have it so it automatically runs when we load the page. Or you see here this thing here, this screen is the size of the screen we're creating. So we need to remember this is what it's referring to. If we go into the GB Studio docs, then we can click on this thing and deploy for web, and we can see here the viewport size should be 480 by 432. So I'm just going to type that in. And if I remember correctly, this is the size of this one, and all my other games as well. So mobile friendly, your project can run on mobile phones, which is true. We can have that happen. And we can just set it as the default. And like I said, how we had to press, run whatever it said, that is a choice. I can make it automatically start when the page loads, which is a choice, but I prefer not to, so that they actually have to click on it. We definitely want a full screen button. We don't want to be locked to this size. We definitely want to be able to press, full screen, and it's very simple, and it makes the game a lot easier to play. We don't want scroll bars. The scroll bars have nothing to do with it, and it would be for maybe a phone game that's being played in this. I don't really know. And obviously your description, you want to obviously put stuff in your description. You can add images, you can have videos. I haven't really done much of this stuff. It's just that, I normally put text, and I have the the screenshots separately. You can use this format to change the the size of it, but honestly it's really difficult to get it to the right size. You have to view it and then go back to it and change it before you can get things right, because these sizes aren't exactly these sizes. I don't really understand why it doesn't really work. And obviously your genre and the tags are quite important, okay? This is how people search for your stuff. So if you have like racing game, then people who type in racing will find your game. If you have no genre, it will be a lot harder. And if you lie about your genre, if you put the wrong genre in, then people won't be happy when they find your game. You know what I mean? Like if they type in a racing game and they get a cooking game, they won't click on it, or when they do click on it, they won't really stick around, right? So obviously, mine's a bit difficult because it's obviously technically a fighting game, but it's more of maybe an action game. But it's not really action. It's a difficult one, right? I might just put I'll just put fighting just for the simplicity's sake, because that's the main mechanic. And the tags, I've scrolled through this many times trying to find different things. Obviously, you want the basic ones like 2D, pixel art, retro. Obviously, this is my like a Game Boy game, right? So arcade, it's a short game. But I'll come back to this and finish it when I'm not recording. But a custom noun, you can put anything. So I can put Game Boy ROM. And then the download and install instructions. With this, I like to put, this game is not a Windows executable. It is a file to be played on your Game Boy or with an emulator. And you could have something along those lines as well if you're doing it for GB Studio. And I've also found that discussion board, people don't really tend to leave anything on a discussion board. People tend to leave comments. So I would recommend putting it on comments if it's a small game, and maybe changing it to discussion board once it gets extremely large. But the comments seem fine. And obviously, you will want to put it to public once you've completely finished. If you leave it on draft, then you can easily go back and forth and testing out whether or not it's formatted correctly. So I'll just save it and view it first. So here is our game. We can press run. And this is a good place to get screenshots as well. If you make it full screen, you can then take screenshots. I'll just mute the tab. So yes, so from here I could take screenshots and then upload them as screenshots, which I will definitely do for this, because if you can see when I do full screen, it is completely filling the screen and there's no awkward bars or anything like there are in the emulator in GB Studio. And obviously this is the exact thing of what your players are going to see as well, so there's nothing wrong in, taking a screenshot of this. So yeah, so as you can see, we have the game in here, and we have a download thing, which is name your own price. You have a little comment section, but nothing else, right? I didn't type in a description. I didn't type in anything. So what I'm going to also do is show you here the edit theme, and you can change the colors, right? So the background 1 and background 2 are mutually exclusive, and I'll obviously want to pick some colors from my game and put them as this, and make sure they're contrasting, and make sure the text stands out over the top. I've also got a little hack for you guys. There's also a Google font thing. Obviously, we'll probably want Pixel font, but everybody has this font, and I don't think it's that readable. So instead, I've got this, obviously Google fonts, right? And obviously it might take you a while to find this since you have to preview every single one. But I have a Google Doc with my favorite fonts in. So the first one is this VT. Yeah, if we just click on it, then we can, you see it's now a different font, and it's a bit more readable, but it's still Pixel. The next one is called Press Start P2. If you click on that, you see it's a bit more, it's bigger and chunkier, and it's still Pixel, and it's a bit more readable than the, obviously the Pixel font, right? And then the most recent one I found is called .gothic 16, and this one is like a, almost like a typewriter-esque feeling to it, so obviously it will fit my Office theme quite well. But if you want to find your own fonts as well, it might take you a while, but you obviously, if you press preview on these Google fonts, if you click on Google fonts here, then it will take you to all of the Google fonts, which will obviously all be able to use on itch. The annoying thing is that it doesn't have a pixel, you can't sort by whether or not it's pixel based. So it might take you a while, and you might not even find anything other than what I found. Like I said, the last one I found was more recent, and I think it was uploaded more recently, so you might even be able to get your fonts onto here if you make them, so I'd be definitely interested to see that. But yeah, you can move on. Obviously, if you're adding screenshots, then they'll have to be done in the, in the edit of it. But I can upload a banner here. So I've already made a banner. You see here, this is a GIMP file. If I show you the canvas size, it's 960 by 360, and I think this is just the basic banner size of itch. I think I Googled it to find this size, and I think it works perfectly. So you see here the banner is now uploaded, and it just fills the top of the screen and overrules the title of your thing. So you definitely want your title to be visible in it. You can also upload a background image, which is this orange will be replaced with an image which tiles if it's too small. I think these two are different. For example, one of them is just static. When you scroll, it doesn't scroll, and the other one does scroll. But you'll have to test out yourself. If we go back to, if I save this, and if I go back into here, we can upload a cover image. You see here it says recommended 630 by 500. So you see here I have, a cover image which is 630 by 500, and it's just, the logo bit that I've made for the game. I took a screenshot of the game and I just, scaled it to fit into this and removed some things around. It's very simple. So if I upload the cover image here, then you can see that this is what it would look like. And this is what you see when you go into browse. This is the cover image, right? These are the game's cover images that we're seeing. So you kind of want to make it stand out, like you could even make it animated, I think. You see how this is like a GIF, or it might even be a video. So that's definitely something to consider if you're thinking about this. You can also see that the screenshots pop up as well. So you definitely want to consider adding screenshots to your game, to your game's project. So I'll get back to you when I've filled out this thing, and I'll show you what it looks like to upload your game or submit your game to the competition. Okay, I'm back, and I've updated the page. As you can see, it now has the colors of the game in both the background and in the buttons and the text. I've made it so the game runs nicely. And I've taken the screenshots and I put them in. I think I still have to edit them to show up. Let's see if we can find them. Okay, yeah, so auto is hidden, but we want them in the sidebar. So if I press sidebar and save, then here they are. Here's the screenshots. Yeah, it says that the recommended amount of screenshots is between 3 and 5, and that makes it a lot easier to just put 3 in. Obviously, if you have a really long page, then it's not really that good, but you kind of just want to match the amount of images by the amount of text you have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change this from draft to public. As you can see, I've added a controls bit, so I just made a little table and I typed in, the controls. I added some tags. I recommend adding Game Boy and Homebrew, just if you're making a GB Studio game. Game Boy and Homebrew are good ones. I've got a lot of views through the Game Boy tag. So if we click on public and we press save, the page is now, the page is now active, right? So some things you might need to do is change the metadata. So if you see here, we got input methods, so we can put keyboard. What else have we got? Technically, it's touchscreen, so smartphone. And then we can have the average session, a few minutes, multiplayer support, nothing, languages. What does it say? Okay, I'll just put English. Accessibility. What is it then? Maybe. I guess I have subtitles, which is good. And that's about it. It doesn't have sensitive content, so we can press save. And if you've got an engine and tools, we can type in GB Studio. And I've got a lot of views by this tag as well, I think. People, when they type in GB Studio, they get your game. And you can also put in whatever other software you use, like I use GIMP. And save that. There are other things as well, so we can have... I don't really know about the Creative Commons thing, but I'll just leave it as no license. I have also uploaded the project files since I wanted to be, in the open source category of the competition. We can also change some other things, but I don't think that really matters. So now we can go to the jam and we can add it to the jam. So there's 20 days left, and if I press submit your project, we can now choose Office Combat. And then if we press submit, your game has been submitted. Normally there is a submittal process where it asks you, what did you use for it and other things like that. How many people worked on it? Is it open source? Those kind of questions. But it's still fine. And so now our game is in the competition. Let's see if we can find it. See, mine's a different color. There it is. Office Combat. And you can see everyone else's as well. So obviously, I like these, the covers that have the Game Boy logo on it. It adds a bit to it, but I have never really done that for mine. But yeah, it would be smart if you were to do that for yours. As you can see, some of them are like cut off. You see how this one, like the G and the R of color, are cut off, and that's because they didn't make it for the correct size. You see here, whatever the text is at the bottom, you can't see it. and some of this is cut off. So I recommend deliberately making your thing for the file size, which is 630 by 500, so that it fits in and doesn't cut anything off. But yeah, that's how you upload your game to itch. So if you want to play my game Office Combat, there'll be a link in the description, or if you follow me on itch, you may have already got the notification that I've updated and uploaded something. But please play it and drop me a comment down here if you enjoyed it. Before I go, I just want to thank my patrons. They'll be up on screen right now. Thank you so much to you guys. So now I have one game in the competition. I will be focusing more on the other ones. If you remember in my original video, I had 7 games I wanted to make, and I wanted to make all of them. But it's seeming now that I won't be making the Rally Ball game. I haven't even started that, and with 20 days left, it doesn't really seem like there's much point. I also won't be making the tanker game. I feel like that worked as better on its own, and I can work on that in the future and develop it into a larger project. If we also look at the game jams, there's a GB Jam 9, and I want to submit a game to this. And if you see, it has from the 17th to the 27th, so that's 10 days of work for a game, and I want to work on that space crawler game for this. Obviously, I still have slicks to do as well, so I could do that next week, as well as finishing the Dead Dungeon game and uploading that to the jam. And then for this 10 days, I think it'd be smart if I make the space crawler game and submit that for both this jam, the GB Jam 9, and also the Game Boy Competition 2021. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear your comments on that. And if you hadn't heard of this, then it's definitely a good idea to join this jam. This jam is where I made my Ticket Racing 1 last year in the GB Jam 8. So I recommend, spending some time over this 10 days to make a project and submitting it to both jams. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And yeah, so like this video if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.